Hello and welcome to the Palmore Institute's video lesson series. My name is Lowell and today we'll be looking at the TOEFL course. So let's begin. In today's lesson, we'll be focusing on the speaking section of the TOEFL test. I'll give you a brief introduction and we'll focus mainly on the independent task. Our learning goals for today's lesson, the learning goals of this lesson are to familiarize you with the format of the speaking section of the TOEFL test and to introduce you to the different types of speaking tasks that are found in the speaking section of the TOEFL test, with a focus on the independent speaking task. Also, we'll look at some basic test strategies for improving your score in the speaking section, particularly the independent speaking task. As for the purpose of the speaking section, it's to evaluate the speaking skills of non-native speakers of English in an English-speaking academic setting. It's designed to determine whether a test taker is able to use English language in real-life classroom and campus situations to answer questions in a clear, coherent, understandable manner, describe a personal experience or express a point of view, participate actively in academic or casual discussions with teachers or other students, and to synthesize and summarize written information. As for the format of the speaking section, as of August 1st, 2019, when the latest version of the TOEFL was released, they made some changes to the format. There used to be 6 speaking tasks. Now there are 4 speaking tasks, 1 independent task and 3 integrated tasks. And that should go on for about 17 minutes. And like the other sections of the test, the score scale is 0 to 30 out of a total of 120 for the entire test. As for the general features of the speaking section, in your responses, you'll have to demonstrate your ability to understand the questions, provide relevant answers, and use the appropriate language and grammatical structures. To determine the proficiency level of a candidate, test raters take the following criteria into account. First, delivery, how you give your response in a smooth way. Language use, grammar, vocabulary, and topic development, how you develop your topic when you're answering the question. So, specifically for delivery, they're looking for clarity and fluidity, being clear and making sure your speech is very fluid or very fluent, smooth. Pronunciation, be careful about katakana pronunciation in particular, and make sure that you speak understandably. Intonation and stress is also important. If you speak in just a flat, one monotone voice, it probably will go against your score. And keep your response at a natural pace. Don't have any or too many long pauses that are unfilled. As for language use, make sure that you use correct grammatical structures and appropriate vocabulary. And the quality and variety of sentences is important as well. Avoid just using simple sentences. You want to use some simple sentences, some compound sentences and complex sentences, but don't make your sentences too long or too complicated if it might affect your fluency or reduce your chance of speaking grammatically correct. Okay. Let's see, topic development. Relevance and coherence of content. You have to make sure that your response is relevant to the topic and that it's coherent, that it's understandable. And completeness of content, make sure that you completely develop your ideas to fully answer the question. In organization, basically you should have a topic sentence and then your position, and then give your reasons with examples and details. All right. For each of the 4 speaking tasks, you'll be given 15 to 30 seconds to prepare your response, and your response should be 45 to 60 seconds long. You're allowed to take notes and use them while answering the questions. You'll be given about 4 pages of blank paper to take notes. This is especially important when you do the integrated tasks. The directions for each type of task will appear on the computer screen and be read by a narrator. And all of your responses will be recorded digitally and sent to ETS's online scoring network, where they will be scored by an AI system and a team of certified test readers. Next, let's take a look at the general question types. Question 1 is called an independent speaking task because it requires you to draw entirely on your own ideas, opinions, and experiences when you respond. And questions 2 through 4 are called integrated speaking tasks because they require you to combine your English language skills, listening and speaking, or listening, reading, and speaking, just as you would in or out of a classroom in a university setting. As for the independent speaking task, in this task you'll be given a topic to speak about with no additional material. It's designed to test your ability to develop an argument in speech and support it with relevant examples and reasons. And you'll have 15 seconds to prepare and 45 seconds to speak. And the topic will consist of 2 situations or 2 opinions. You'll be asked which one you prefer and to explain your choice. The question will appear on your computer screen and is read by a narrator at the same time. And it's generally divided in 2 parts. The first part introduces the 2 points to choose from. For example, do you prefer X or Y? Do you prefer living in the country or living in the city? And the second part asks you to give relevant details, reasons, or examples to support your opinion. For example, you must include logical reasons and clear examples to support your response. Here's an example independent speaking task. This was taken from the ETS website. Some people think it is more fun to spend time with friends in restaurants or cafes. Others think it is more fun to spend time with friends at home. Which do you think is better? Explain why. Okay, so here's some strategies for preparing for and delivering a response. Make sure that you read the question carefully to identify its key ideas and determine what kind of information is required. And use the 15 seconds you're given to prepare to organize your ideas. Take notes, but do not write out complete sentences or full response. You just don't have time. Your notes should only include your main ideas in concise but accurate terms, and don't bother trying to memorize responses before the test, as they will most likely lower your score. Some people try to memorize a variety of different answers to specific questions, but usually the questions will be a bit different each time you take the test, so it might not be helpful to memorize those types of responses. Also aim to sound natural and spontaneous, not like you're just reading from a script. And you don't need to organize your response sections like a written essay. It's not quite that formal. Speak naturally and use common connecting words and phrases. For example, because, so, after that. On the other hand, I want to mention what this means, for example. And start your response with a short introductory sentence that paraphrases the 2 choices in the task prompt. And state your opinion regarding the 2 choices. For example, Some people might argue that it is more fun to spend time with friends in restaurants or cafes, while other people might say it's more fun to spend time with friends at home. As for me, or in my view, I think that spending time with friends at home is more fun than spending time with friends at restaurants or cafes. So notice we have a paraphrase of the question prompt. We just changed a few words around in the sentence structure a little bit. And then you give your position, for example, as for me, or in my view, or in my opinion, and then take one position or the other. Don't take both positions, just choose one. Okay, also give 2 or 3 reasons to explain your choice or opinion and illustrate them with examples. For example, first of all, spending time at restaurants and cafes can get expensive, which can take the fun out of the experience. For example, last month I went to a restaurant with some friends. The restaurant was so expensive that I had to borrow some money from one of my friends to cover my part of the bill. That was no fun. Second, spending time with friends at home is more fun because we can play card games, board games, or video games together at my house. For instance, I have a poker night at my house once a month, and it's so fun to have some friends over to play cards. All right, if you have 5 to 10 seconds remaining, you can add a concluding sentence. Note that this is purely optional. It's only if you have a little bit of time left, and you can check the counter on the computer. It will show you how much time you've got left. Here's an example. So that's why I think it's more fun to spend time with friends at home. If you had 5 seconds, if you had 10 seconds left, then you could add than it is to spend time with friends at restaurants or cafes. Okay, for the homework for this lesson, please choose 20 new words or phrases that you learned from each class in a textbook or from an academic vocabulary list, such as the one listed below, and write definitions, synonyms, antonyms, and example sentences. And please write a 300-word or more 4 to 5 paragraph essay. Time yourself to 30 minutes. If your instructor hasn't assigned a topic, you can choose from this list. You can check out that website below in the comments. And after your first draft is returned to you, please make corrections and write a second draft. And finally, it's a good idea to review the speaking section test rubrics. This is from ETS. It describes what a good response should look like and what mediocre or poor responses might look like. Well, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to leave comments below. And until next time,